Chris, thanks very much for joining us ahead of the tie against Sutton United this weekend. I'll start by asking for any final reflections you have on that big win on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a really good win for us. I think from our point of view, I suppose the highlight looking at the game back was our approach in the final stages, really, at 3-1 and 4-1, and we continued to be relentless in our pressing and our energy levels and our attacking mindset. So that was a bit I was really pleased with. We didn't kind of drop off at any moment in time. So that's testament to the subs coming on to give us that energy. So yeah, it was really pleasing. As always, we kind of go through the game and analyse it, and yeah, it was an excellent win.
You mentioned the energy levels there. The lads sort of went gung-ho sort of from the first whistle to the last. There was no lack of effort. How are they sort of feeling recovering after that one?
Yeah, they're fine. They're good. They've had a few days now, and I mean, for some of the players, it was their fourth game in 2 weeks or whatever. So a few of them played, high volume of minutes. So they're fine. They're fine. They've recovered well. But that's our game. Our game is based on that energy. That's going to be really important. So the things they do off the pitch and how they recover their bodies is really important.
You rotated the team a lot, of course. Were you pleased with what you learned from that and how the lads who came in did?
Yeah, well, I was. I mean, like I say, it was against an under-21 side, so I'm not kind of, as I said to the players, we're not dismissing that. Understandably, we expected to be dominant and strong in those games, but at the same time, you've got to beat what's in front of you. So, yeah, the players that came in did well. Some of them, it's not easy just to come in straight out of the cold and play like that in a game because the picture's all a little bit different, but it only happens if they train well every day. So yeah, the ones that came in did well, and we've seen Alphonse Samsted be able to play left back as well as right back, so there's a positive from his point of view, and a good step for Ayumu Yokoyama getting a couple of goals, which is always good. Linden getting on the score sheet, Dion getting more game time. So players that maybe haven't played so much has been good for them as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Yokoyama there. Of course, a lot has been said about him and his performance over the last few games, especially. Of course, he's still very young and adapting to a new country, but has he staked his case to be a little bit more involved?
He has, yeah. I mean, he had a few weeks where he wasn't in the squad, and I explained to him the kind of reasons why and what I wanted from him to improve on, and also to stay positive and focused, and his chances will come, and his chances have come, and he's taken them. So yeah, I mean, he's a proper winger. He's a very dangerous 1v1, very fast, difficult to play against because he can go both ways. So but very young, and he's learning English, he's learning about the culture of the country as well as the football, so a lot of steps more for him to take, but definitely a positive few weeks for him.
It's been great to see Jay Stansfield back in action again after what was a really brief injury. How are his fitness levels looking, and could he potentially do a full 90 yet?
Yeah, so Jay's getting there. I mean, Jay's, since he's been back, he hasn't had too much training because he's been into games and had little niggles here and there, so but he's been getting through the games well. So yeah, I mean, Jay's capable of playing for longer, but it's important that we build him up slowly and we don't put him at risk because of this kind of last few weeks that he's had. So step by step, his game time will grow. But yeah, I mean, he's a great demonstration of his qualities. 2 excellent finishes, and then I was really pleased with the Alfie May goal because of the unselfishness to lay the ball on for the teammate and to Willem to Alfie, and highlighted to Jay and the other players that this is what the best strikers do. They say the best strikers are selfish, but they're not. The best strikers are team players, and if there's someone's in a better position to score, then they'll pass them the ball because they want to win. So, but yeah, Jay's getting there.
Elsewhere in injury news as well, can we see anyone else returning for Sunday potentially?
Well, we've got Luke Harris, who's available again, having not been available. That wasn't necessarily through injury because he's been available for the last week or so. So no, we've got Chris Bielik and Lee Buchanan back in light training as well. So yeah, we're step by step, we're getting a few of these injured players back.
And looking ahead to Sutton themselves, how do you assess them as a side playing a couple of divisions below?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a few of their games. They look, organised, quite physical. I think they'll be similar in principle to a few of the League One teams that we've faced. But I think they'll have a couple of different approaches. I've seen them sort of be a bit more defensive in a block, absorb pressure and try to break away. And I've also seen them be a bit more aggressive in pressing. So a couple of different approaches that I think they'll try at different stages of the game. But yeah, I mean, they're competitive team. They're at home. It's a good pitch from what I've seen, which bodes well for us. Hopefully we can impose our game on the day. But a test, they'll be right up for it, as we will be as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, like you say, your team has come up against a lot of teams who've set up in that low block and physical teams as well. Would you say your side have been developing against that style and been more effective against it?
Yeah, I think we have. I think you do learn something from every game, and we played against a lot of back fives, which I predict they're going to play as well. But we played against a lot of that, and the solutions we need to create chances, to control the game as much as possible, and then to be ready to deal with the threats that they have. So yeah, I think we have developed in the last 6-7 weeks, I'd say, in those aspects. But each game's the next game's the most important, so and that's what we're focusing on.
I think Sutton's manager Steve Morrison came out and said that the draw against Birmingham had sparked a bit of life into their club. Is it one way you're expecting them to be really fired up for it?
Yeah, I am, but as I say to the players, there's no reason why they say it's a big game for the opposition, but it's also a big game for us. So they should be no more fired up and excited about playing than we are against them. So and that's what I expect from everyone here at this club as well. So regardless of what the opposition think about playing us, our point of view, we need to be ready and focused and motivated, and that's what we will be.
And in terms of these cup competitions, have you set out specific goals for the lads, or is it just a case of fielding really strong teams and going from there?
I always just think it's just about the next game, and being as competitive and playing as well as we can in that. And in every competition that we go into is going as far as you can. It's not trying to be too clever or overcomplicate it. That's my philosophy with it all, and that's the approach so far, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Of course, you'll be backed really heavily for the game on Sunday. Northampton at home as well next week, completely sold out. How good would you say the connection between your team and the fans is at the moment?
There is a good connection. I mean, the moments for me that you feel that real connection are when they recognise the efforts of the team. Sometimes in the low moments, or the disappointing ones. The Mansfield away, we're standing in front of them and they're singing "Keep Right On," and or Charlton away when we had a disappointing result and they're there with us and singing and backing us, and that's because they see what the players are putting in. Because as I've said right from the start, that you work at a professional football club as a coach or a manager or a player, and it's to make the fans proud of their club, and the fans will be proud when they see a team that is running and working hard for their club. And they recognise that from our players and the team, and that's where I think the bond grows. Obviously, you need to win games of football. That's where we can all celebrate together. So, I think there is a bond there, and it is growing. And hopefully, we can build on that in the next few weeks.
Just finally, the under-18s had a bit of a dramatic comeback win last night in the FA Youth Cup. Do you make a point to keep an eye on the academy and get them up here for a bit of training with your first team as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very big part of a good result for them, and great comeback. I think not only do I try and include them in training as much as possible if we need extra players, but we've also sort of started to introduce a bit of a small group session here up at the first team facility for some of the highlighted academy players that get an opportunity to come up and train with the first team coaches as well. So just to bridge that gap and the pathway between academy and first team. So yeah, I mean, the best player you can get through is an academy player. That's it, because they normally understand the club a lot better, and that's what we all want. So there's a lot of hard work going into that, and hopefully they can do well in that competition, and we can have a few more up here with us.
Gaffer, thank you very much.
Thank you.